How many gods of war do you know of? 1, 2 at max. And wait a minute there, you can't say Kratos because he is fictional and not mythological. Your answer changed, didn't it? But worry not. Let us tell you about all different gods of war and how crazily strong they were. So first, we have Kratos. Nah, we're kidding. Starting with Aries. He was the god of battle in Greek mythology, and due to his chaotic personality, one of the most hated gods in the Greek pantheon. He symbolizes the wild and aggressive characteristics of murder and merciless combat, i.e., war for the sake of war. Aries was the son of Zeus, the supreme deity, and Hera, but even his own parents despised him because of his rapid temper and insatiable thirst for battle and bloodshed. Many popular stories relate to Ares seducing Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, fighting the Greek hero Heracles and losing, and angering Poseidon, the sea god, by killing his son. All of this demonstrates the untamable and wild side of the god. Bellachadros. He was a powerful Celtic god of war who was sometimes linked with Mars, his Roman counterpart. He is known by inscriptions left by the Roman troops on the walls in Cumberland. They worshipped Bellachadros by feeding him and offering sacrifices to him. According to the modest and primitive altars dedicated to Bellachadros, this god was worshipped by people of low social status. However, Bellachadros is hardly known since most of his stories were never written down and were passed down orally. He was always shown as a man in full armor with horns, and his name has never been associated with a female consort. In all, he was one of the lesser-known war gods, yet he was one of the most important Celtic gods. Anahita. She was a goddess of war, wisdom, health, healing, and fertility in ancient Persia. Anahita became intrinsically tied with war due to her affiliation with life-giving powers. Before a fight, Persian warriors would pray to the goddess for victory. She was affiliated with many other strong goddesses from different civilizations, and she had the most shrines and temples devoted to her name in contrast to other Persian deities. She is usually shown as a young woman wearing a golden robe and wearing a diamond tiara. Anahita is the only goddess whose name has been immortalized in Persian mythology as a beautiful maiden, powerful, tall, and pure, wearing a gold-embroidered cloak and carrying the beresma, her holy plant, in her hand. Hachiman. In Japanese mythology, Hachiman was the god of war and archery. He was famed for sending the divine wind, also known as the kamikaze, which dispersed the fleets of Kublai Khan, the Mongol ruler who attempted to conquer Japan. For this and other acts, Hachiman is also known as the protector of Japan and all the temples in the country. His name means God of 8 banners, referring to the 8 heavenly banners that signal the birth of the divine emperor Ojin, and he is symbolized by the dove. Hachiman was extensively worshipped across Japan, both by samurai and peasants. The god currently has almost 2,500 Shinto temples devoted to him. The Mitsudomoe, a comma-shaped swirl with 3 heads used by numerous samurai clans around Japan, is his insignia. Montu. Montu was the strong falcon god of war in ancient Egyptian mythology. He is frequently represented as a guy with a falcon's head, wearing a crown with 2 plums and a uraeus, a rearing snake on his brow. For his weapon, he is frequently depicted with a spear, apart from a variety of weapons that he wields. Montu was closely identified with Ra as a solar deity, and was commonly referred to as Montu Ra. He was a popular god of war throughout Egypt, but he was especially loved in Upper Egypt in the city of Thebes. It should also be noted that Montu had a connection with Egyptian households, and was probably considered a protector of the happy home, as he was cited in marriage documents. Enyo. Enyo was a minor goddess of war and devastation in Greek mythology, and the daughter of Zeus and Hera. She frequently accompanied her brother Ares into battle and reveled in the killing. When the city of Troy was sacked, Enyo used Ares, the goddess of strife and discord, to inflict slaughter and fear. She also frequently collaborated with Ares' son Deimos, the embodiment of terror, and Phobos, the personification of fear. Enyo, like her brother, loved battle and enjoyed witnessing it. She also liked assisting her brother in planning city assaults and spreading terror as much as she could. Although she was not a significant goddess, she was involved in some of the most important conflicts in Greek history. Satet. Satet was the goddess of battle and archery and the daughter of Ra, the ancient Egyptian sun god. Her purpose as a warrior goddess was to guard the pharaoh and the southern Egyptian frontiers, but she also had many other responsibilities. She was in charge of the annual flood of the Nile, as well as other duties as a burial goddess. Satet is often represented as a young woman wearing a sheath gown, the horns of an antelope, and the hedjet, a conical Upper Egyptian crown. She is occasionally represented as an antelope. Because of her various functions and obligations, she was a very significant goddess in Egyptian mythology. Maru. Maru was a Maori war deity who was prominent in southern New Zealand. He was the son of Rangihore, the deity of stones and rocks and Maui's grandson. Maru lived at a time when cannibalism was common, which is why he was also known as the minor man-eating war god. He was also a deity of fresh water in addition to being a war god. His image was brought over to New Zealand by Hungaroa, Chief Manai's daughter, and since then he has been worshipped as a war deity by the Polynesians. Set, also known as Seth in Switek, Set was the Egyptian god of war, chaos, and storms. However, he was also a patron god of the pharaohs, and he protected the dead on the way to the afterlife. In Egyptian mythology, Seth assassinated Osiris in order to become ruler of Egypt, but Osiris and Isis's son, Horus, overcame Seth in battle. Ra, the solar deity, then adopted Seth. During the sun's nightly journey to the underworld, he transformed into thunder and shielded Ra from the chaotic snake Apophis. While Seth has been shown in a number of animal forms, he is most commonly pictured as the Seth animal, a godlike animal with a forked tail. Tyr. You might know him, the Norse god of war and slaughter of the Asir tribe, but he was also known for bringing order and justice. The most compelling evidence of Tyr's role as a divine jurist, and a heroic one at that, comes from the tale of the binding of Fenrir, the only surviving myth to feature Tyr prominently. Fenrir, the terrifying wolf, was just a pup, but he was growing quickly. Fearing for their lives, the gods attempted to bind Fenrir in fetters from which he could not escape. When Fenrir saw the chain that would eventually tie him, he became skeptical and said that he would only let the gods wrap it around him if one of them stuck an arm in his mouth as a sign of good faith. Tyr was the only one who was willing to do so. When the wolf found himself unable to break free, he bit off Tyr's arm, and therefore Tyr is depicted as having only one hand. Sad for him. Anyways, let's end the video here. Bye.